Welcome. Hope you can hear me all right. Welcome to day 2 of the 5 mindful days, 5 days of mindfulness challenge. Great to have you here, and great to be here with you as well. Today we're going to talk about the next level of mindfulness. Yesterday we learned about what is it and how can you make a habit out of it. Unfortunately, there were a lot of technical audio issues, so I think I'm just going to have to redo that day and then share it on YouTube. But it's okay. If you weren't there, basically what we talked about was what is mindfulness and how can you make it a habit. And then today we're talking about being mindful of our senses, because as you know, there are 5 main senses: the touch, smell, sight, taste, and hearing, auditive. And oftentimes we forget what is happening around us because we're like either focused on a thing or we're being distracted. And when that happens, when you're being distracted, right, your brain is just being pulled in another direction and you're not being present. Sorry for the weird Italian there. I feel a bit Italian this morning. New York Italian. Anyway, enough of the jokes. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a very awesome practice around the 5 senses. And we're going to learn about why it's important to be able to be more mindful of our senses. And the reason is because oftentimes we forget, we just, like we said yesterday, we just go about our day not really paying attention to what's happening in this present moment and either worrying about the past or being anxious about the future. Because our brain is here to protect us, remember, and it does what it's been doing for the past million years, making sure that we stay safe and that we do what needs to be done in order to succeed. No, not even succeed, just be okay for the future. And it does that by helping us, by making sure that we can avoid whatever mistakes we've done from the past in the future, by constantly worrying about them, and by creating anxiety in that way and worry from the past or depression, because it doesn't want us to re-feel that pain. And that's very difficult, right? Our brain is trying to protect us, but when we've been through something difficult and our brain says, oh, I definitely don't want to feel that again, then it's going to not help us to try and go through that situation again. Because maybe it was something that was painful, but it was very important to learn from. Like a breakup, for example. That's, I think, the most easy example to understand. If you've gone through a breakup that's super painful, your brain will be like, you'll create some kind of conclusion. And maybe it won't be conscious for you. Maybe it'll be subconscious. And if it's conscious, then that's great, because then you can work through it. But example, if there was something, a very painful relationship that hurt you a lot, maybe it can be like with an intimate relationship or with one of your parents. And if there was a breakup or an intimate relationship, maybe your brain will be like, hell no, I'd never want to do that again. And then every time you're about to get into a relationship, you'll remember that situation and be like, you're not doing this again. I don't want to get hurt. Because it remembers that pain. Unfortunately, yes, what we remember is what are the memories linked to the strongest emotions. That's the thing. That's a key point in learning theories. And that's also why I put pumped up music, because being pumped up makes me feel alive and makes me, remember that information that I want to transmit to you, and also so you can remember and learn what I'm about to tell you now. Because if you're more excited, for example, instead of just very neutral and just letting the information flow through you, it's going to go through you, in one ear, out the other. But if you invoke some kind of emotion, which can be created by moving your body even a little bit, then you're more likely to remember it. Anyway, that's not related to mindfulness. That's more about learning. And what I was saying, if you've been hurt in the past, your brain will try to protect you from it ever happening again. And that's why oftentimes when we've been rejected, been broken up with, tried something and failed. Your brain's like, that was a bit painful. I don't want to do that again. Let's never do that again. And it can be something that you want to try again, because maybe it was a business or a company that you worked with, and you had a bad experience with your boss, for example, or some colleagues, and now you're like, fuck any job, because that happened once, right? And your brain's like, I can't imagine that any other job will be different. Every job sucks, and now I need to go do my own thing. But if you want a job, that's not what you need to be thinking, right? Because not all jobs suck. You know, there are amazing companies in the world that have great people culture. So just being aware of what pains you've been through in the past can help you to be aware of how your brain might sabotage you. And how do we do that? By being more mindful of the thoughts that are happening in our head. Okay? Remember, mindfulness is about noticing the thoughts in a non-judgmental way on purpose. And there's one more, which is, I think, noticing the thoughts and emotions, just being aware in a non-judgmental way on purpose. And the more you practice it, like we talked about yesterday, the more it becomes easy. The more you're able to say, oh, I'm thinking that, oh, I'm feeling that, and just put yourself apart as like in a third person perspective, the easier it becomes to do it. You don't go to the gym once, do a push-up and say, oh, I'm jacked, I'm super buff now. You have to go over and over, increase the amount of push-ups you do, vary it a bit, create spaced repetition, and model somebody that has done it before you, so you know what it looks like. And that way you learn and you build those muscles. That's what we want. The brain is the same thing. Brain is also a muscle. The neurons that help you build the muscle, that create the habit of going to the gym, that the motor neurons, the ones that flex and the ones that tense when you do the push-up, are very similar to the neurons in your brain that get connected when you bring your thoughts, when you bring awareness to your thoughts. So the more you're able to do that, and during meditation, the more you bring your attention back to your body or your breath, it's like doing a mental push-up. And the more you do it, the more easily it becomes. They say that after 100 minutes, you notice significant differences already. You can notice differences after 100 minutes of meditation to how you notice your thoughts and your emotions, which is super cool. So, but today we're going to talk about the senses, the 5 senses that I just mentioned before, and understand why do we give a fuck about the senses? I thought it was about thoughts and emotions. Well, if you didn't realize, we have this body, and we often go through the day not realizing what it's doing, like what we're smelling, what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're seeing, touching, tasting. And it's a mindfulness practice. It's not one of them. I mean, it's one of the most common ones. There's breathing awareness, there's body awareness, and then there's awareness of your senses. And so this is just another way of doing it. And I want to teach that to you today, because it will help you to get another tool in your toolbox. So you can use, say, if you don't like breathing awareness, or if you don't like body scans or body awareness, then you can be aware of your senses. And this is a pretty fun way, because basically what we're going to do is we're going to do a little scan of the different senses and see which ones you can pay attention to. And similar like yesterday, you don't need to remember to be non-judgmental of whatever comes up, and it's okay to be distracted. It happens. Sorry, I have some hairs because I got my hair cut yesterday. And the important thing is to be non-judgmental and paying attention on purpose. So if you're ready to try out the 5 senses meditation exercise, what I encourage you to do is remember to sit comfortably, feet on the floor if possible, and hands in a relaxing place, and to simply, feel comfortable for now. If you want, you can close your eyes and be curious about whatever comes up. That's also a big part of mindfulness, because curiosity it's a emotion that helps us to learn. Like, what is going to come up? What are the thoughts that are going to go through your head? What are you going to see? And the reason that this is so powerful, that this practice is very powerful as well, is because we often forget what's around us, and we're so focused about what our thoughts are. So this is another practice to bring yourself out of your thoughts into the present moment, being aware of what's around you, and become happier. Because when you're in your head, you're dead, and this will help you to get out of your head and into your body, for example. So the 5 senses exercise, you can close your eyes, sit comfortably. And here is what we're going to do. First, I'd love to, actually, no, don't close your eyes just yet, because the first sense that we're going to use is sight, your eyes. So I'd love to encourage you to ask you to look around and become aware of your environment. What do you see? Notice the different colors. What colors are there? How many can you see? Is there something that you haven't noticed in a while? I see a lot of different things. There may be some words on the wall that I haven't read before. Just look around for a little moment. And be mindful of what is there, looking at the details of everything around you. Not just, you can do a sweep, and then on the way back, looking at the details. Really looking with curiosity, like, what is that? What are all these things? There's so many things here. Wow. Now notice 5 things that you can see. Just pick out 5. Because we're going to count down from 5 to 1 with the different senses. You can just pick out 5 and then just study those 5 things. What are they? What are the colors there? What is happening in the picture? When was that picture taken? When was that object made? When was it put in this room? Pick out those 5 things and just observe them, being mindful of what they are. You're looking at all the details of what's happening. Do you feel that? Secondly, now we're going to go on to the second sense, which is feeling. And I'd love to bring your attention to 4 things that you can feel. 4 things that you're touching. Now you can close your eyes if you want to feel, to make that sense more intense. If you close your eyes, what are 4 things that you can feel? It can be the texture of your clothes, the smooth surface of the table or the chair that your hands are resting on. 4 things that you're touching or feeling. Count to 4. Really identify them. When was the last time that you mindfully and paid attention to these 4 different feelings? It can even be the roof of your mouth with your tongue. That's a feeling, touch. And it feels kind of weird even to pay attention to that now that I've said it. Because you're like, oh, I don't usually pay attention to that. But now you're in the present moment. and you're more aware of what's happening. Pay attention just a little bit longer. Now we're going to notice 3 things that you can hear. Even if it's quiet, I'm sure there are 3 things that you can hear. Be it the ringing or the sound in your ears, the wind, or the lights above you, your computer or your phone. Listen for and notice things in the background that you don't normally notice. What are 3 things that you can hear? This one might be a bit more difficult, but I'm sure you can find something. Because usually we take all this noise and we bunch it up into one thing. But when we're paying attention more mindfully, we can distinguish them. It could be the birds chirping outside or an appliance humming in the room. What are 3 things that you can notice right now? You can hear, sorry. Fourth, we're going to notice 2 things that you can smell. So bring awareness to taking a deep breath and wondering, what do you smell right now? And can you distinguish 2 different ones? Bring attention to scents that you usually filter out, either pleasant or unpleasant. You can catch a whiff of the trees outside or the food cooking in the kitchen or the table or your feet. That happens sometimes. What are 2 different things that you can smell right now? And just mindfully paying attention to them, trying to figure out maybe what are they? Where do they come from? And breathing them in if they're something nice that you would want to breathe in. And finally, notice 1 thing you can taste. What's something that you can taste? If you want, you can take a sip of a drink or just notice the current taste in your mouth. What does that taste? Could probably be very neutral. I'm sure there's something that you haven't tasted before or paid attention to. Really being mindful of the whole texture around your tongue and the tastes that are going on in your mouth. Amazing. Now try to feel everything at the same time. You can open your eyes. What can you see? What can you feel? What can you hear? What can you smell? What can you taste? And mindfully go through them again. See, those are the 5 things I can see. These are the 4 things I can feel. Those are the 3 things I can hear. Those are the 2 things I can smell. And that's the 1 thing I can taste. Pretty cool, huh? To notice so many things around you. Like, who knew that where you are right now had so many different things to notice, right? I'd love to hear you. Comment in the comment section. What did you feel? What did you see? What did you smell, taste, and hear? What's something that surprised you? Or that, was unexpected that you didn't think would come up? Did you notice something new? Did you feel something that you hadn't paid attention to in a while? Was there something that you heard that you hadn't heard in a while? Was there something that you smelled that you hadn't smelled before? Or something that you tasted that you hadn't tasted in a while? It can be funny things. Awesome. Thanks for commenting if you have. Otherwise, no worries. And that's the meditation, the 5 senses mindfulness practice, where you go through the 5 senses and you basically become more present. Sorry, I'm yawning a lot. And what that does is, now that whenever you feel stressed, this is an exercise that you can use to remember to calm yourself down, right? Because as we said before, stress is in your head, and when you're in your head, you're dead because you're either thinking about what's going to go wrong or what's happened and has gone wrong. And to bring you back into the present moment, this is an exercise that you can do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See, feel, smell. No. What were they? See, feel, hear, smell, taste. See, feel, hear, smell, taste. If you're feeling stressed, please feel free to use this, because it's a very powerful exercise that's quite easy to remember, even though I just forgot what the 5 were. But you know what your 5 senses are, so even if you don't do them in the right order, that's okay too. And enjoy the present moment, because that's where relaxation is, that's where joy is, and yeah, where you can focus more. Because when you're more mindful, remember, you're more productive. When you're more mindful and less stressed, you're more creative, because your brain's not trying to focus on not dying and doing one thing. So I've been very happy to share this with you today. I think the microphone worked a lot better today as well. So that's amazing. And what we're going to do tomorrow and what's going to come is something very cool. First of all, I'd love to just tell you about how you can really develop this mindfulness practice. As you know, this is a free 5-day challenge. And if you want to continue afterwards, I'm going to have a special surprise for anybody that wants to attend my longer workshops around life purpose. Because even though you might think that life purpose, mindfulness aren't extremely related, this is what I love to do. And being aware of your life purpose has to come from a mindful place, because you can't know what the hell you want to do in life if you're always being stressed. And that desire of knowing what you want to do in life comes from a place of stress. It doesn't work, because if you're coming from a place of stress, it's not coming from a place of certainty. Because when you're stressed, you're uncertain. Yeah. And so whatever comes out won't be exactly what you would want your life purpose to be. So that's why mindfulness is very powerful as well, because it helps you to lower your stress and allow yourself to unlock more creativity to help you define your life purpose and live it that way, to be clear about what you want in life and actively take goals to get there. That's what I do. I make sure that people know what they want in life and that they can go get it. Because I've developed so many tools and I've attended a ton of trainings where I know exactly the step-by-step process of what it takes to achieve a goal. All right. So that's what's going to come after this mindfulness challenge. And it's going to be a series of workshops and coaching that I would love for you to join. And anyway, that's afterwards. Right now, we're focusing on the mindfulness challenge. And if you've made it to day 2, congrats. Most people drop out after day 1. So just give yourself a hand, really. Bam, bam, bam. You rock. I'm super glad that you made it here, because, as we said, habit is about showing up, right? And the more you show up for yourself, the more you get out for yourself, and the further you can go. So day 3 is going to be critical, because even more people will drop out. But if you're committed to living less stressed, more creative, less anxious, and eventually living your life purpose and just full of joy, then show up for day 3. Make it a habit. Watch the replay. Watch it in your own time even, but be there. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for me. I don't care. I'm going to teach this to as many people as possible, and the ones I know that will go to the end are the ones that I care about the most. But I would love for you to be there too, because I know it can benefit so many people to learn about this. So show up tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about creating intentional thought patterns. So that's interesting. This is a bit more psychology. And as we know, mindfulness is about being aware of your thoughts. But now we're going to tweak the thoughts a little bit and be aware of what are the dominating ones, what are the emotions and thoughts that you want to have on a more regular basis versus the ones that are coming up. Because most of our thoughts during the day are repeated, 90% of them. So how can we change those 90% of thoughts into helpful ones? Because most of them are negative. As we said, most people are either worrying or being anxious. So how can we change them from anxious and worrying to joy and productive and helpful for you? Wouldn't that be so cool to program your mind? Show up for tomorrow, day 3 of the Creating Intentional Thought Patterns Day. Let's get it done. Otherwise, have an incredible day.